I don't blame you there one bit. I mean, looking at how I'm doing, basically, I love pushing the envelope about like showing off some of the more darker stuff, like the more etchy side of things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually love the etchy stuff. Okay, I mean, just have some fan service for Pete's sake, for fuck's sakes. Basically, if you're just going to make things vanilla and bland as hell, then it's just going to be, another one of the generic, like, Loki's, the Black Widows, the Ghostbusters 2016s, the freaking, the cookie cutter woke garbage that we've been getting for so many years. That crap just needs to freaking just die.
Some people would say that there is a pushback. In mainstream Hollywood, more people are looking at talk show hosts as relics of the past, and they're going to podcasts where they have people who aren't being bought out by corporations. And even though a bit of that attitude has seeped into YouTube, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with a sponsor. If it means like helping your channel to grow, if it's something you believe in, absolutely, right? Like, why not be able to take your hobby into a career, whether part-time or what you want to do for a long period of time? But it seems like some of these channels, I'm watching them and it's like the anime version of Ellen. And they're the kind of stuff that they're telling us, it's not etchy. They're mentioning etchy as a joke. They're mentioning hentai as a joke, and it's like, to some people it's not a joke. Like I said, I understand why certain content is made, but I also question about the integrity of some of these creators, especially when 90% of the content they make today is very different from what they were making all of the time just a few years ago when anime wasn't as big as it was.
And also another thing, speaking of podcasts, I even actually have a podcast of my own. It's called Talking Anime with Mr. Anime 343. Basically, just a few days ago, I've actually sat down with my good friend Dionysus-sama, along with another YouTuber by the name of Zeros Void. And we actually sat down and we talked about, defending lolicons and shotacons. Now, basically, I'm a believer that, fictionalized kids are just, lines on paper. That's our argument. They have no correlation to real kids whatsoever. And I've also added a couple of fundraising links to help these actual kids being in trouble with human trafficking, child abuse, like I've been through. I mean, I've been through some physical child abuse as a kid with my stepdad and all. But, without him or, all this happening to me, I never would have gotten into anime. And that's why I've actually been into anime for. It's actually, one of my happinesses.
So did you use anime as a sort of coping tool with some of the trauma that you were experiencing when you were younger?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Do you feel that you sought it out, or was it something that found you? Some people say that the hobby found them in their darkest point in time.
Basically, it's kind of like, it's kind of like both, because basically I did find it and it actually helped mend some of the wounds that have happened to me. And I always actually had as a kid, I always actually dreamt of actually going on, some fun adventures with all these anime characters. Heck, I've even actually worked on a fan fiction where I was talking about if actual humans actually fought alongside anime characters in a dystopian world. If anime characters came into our world and we actually had to fight alongside them, in the time of need when anime became illegal and stuff like that through a religious cultist organization called the Dawn of Fear. And I just actually really need to get back into writing that story again.
You have a number of projects that you're working on, and I'm interested in hearing about them, and especially your fanfic. I'm someone who grew up on fanfics alongside anime, so I definitely have a soft spot for them. But
okay,
let's just finish up on that one topic about some of the more, what people would say is questionable content in anime. I know that there has been a lot of talk recently about Dragon Maid I try to see everything from as many sides as possible. I feel some people just don't like Dragon Maid and they're just trying to find a reason why they don't like it. I don't like all isekai, but I'm not going to try and like nitpick at the content or even the character design of an isekai in order to tear it down. But I feel that's what Twitter has done a number of times with Dragon Maid. What's your opinion on the fan reaction to ecchi, to depictions of lolly, shota characters, and things like that?
I'm just going to be blunt as hell about this. So I suggest that, everybody, including the idiots in the back, for them to listen up. Because I'm only going to say this just once. Anime is actually meant to actually be enjoyed by the fans. It is made for the fans. If you don't like something, you just walk away, just ignore the issue. Don't freaking just push your biases onto something. Expect somebody to actually, just listen to you. Expect that they are right. That's the thing. People should understand that we prefer watching something and supporting it without people trying to push this narrative that, we're the bad guys. We're what's wrong with society today. And don't even get me started on the freaking promos for, trying to buy back manga, to support American comic companies, because American comics actually just pushed away their fan base so they can actually chase after the phantom audience.
So do you believe that comics, anime, all of this nerd culture, as a lot of people would put it, do you think that it's now politically driven, fiscally driven, and the agendas that fit the narrative is what's going to dictate the kind of content that we receive? Or do you think that there may be some sort of pushback eventually where the fans will say, hey, we enjoy all sorts of content, not just what's reflective of what we see on certain news channels or what's trending on Twitter. Give us everything and we'll let certain groups enjoy it, and the other groups who don't enjoy it, they can go to the side.
Yeah, I'm actually all for the latter, though, because, how I see it, people should understand that if you don't like something, you can just walk away from it. Don't actually take time out of your busy schedule and just try to freaking, go on social media. Freaking throw out a bunch of watered down buzzwords, try to freaking cancel something because it goes against your freaking policies. Guys, it's just stupid if you ask me. People should actually understand that we as people should actually have a right to enjoy something without, somebody trying to cancel someone all because they actually disagreed with their opinions. That's not going to fly with me, okay?